Hello, this is Austin from the Lukewarm Cinema Podcast, and you're listening to the BS Podcast Network.
This is the Magic Our Way Podcast with my mutants, Kevin, Danny, Eli, and Lee. They're cut above the rest, bub. You're the best there is at what you do. And what you do is pretty nice.
Jumbo, everyone.
Harambe.
And welcome to another edition of
The Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
The Magic Our Way Podcast.
They are truly magical and whatnot.
Asante San, everyone. You're listening to the Magic Our Way Podcast from New Orleans, Louisiana, in the United States of America. We are artistic buffs talking about Disney stuff, and this is a show in which every opinion is welcome. MagicOurWay.com is where you can find this. It is Marvel Moment time. For this episode, we are discussing the first 2 episodes of WandaVision. My name is Kevin.
And I'm Danny.
And on this show, we follow the Disney concept of edutainment, where we focus on your entertainment, and along the way, you just might learn a thing or two.
Hey.
As always, so join in our discussion, we have a resident comic genius from ivorycomics.com, Mr. Eli Ivory. How you doing, sir?
Doing very well, gentlemen. How y'all doing today?
Doing good. We're putting you to work today.
All right, I like getting
Marvel
shirt.
Moments.
Marvel show, man.
Marvel show. Not more than a moment.
Yeah.
All day, all ready for it. Ready for it.
And joining us for this Marvel show is our resident travel agent for Magical Moments Vacations, the Shaggy TA, Lee Lastavica. Hey, Lee.
What's going on? How you guys doing?
We doing great.
All good.
And guys, joining us on this very special show, fresh off the boat with the Pirates of the Magic Kingdom, where he served as quartermaster, we welcome back our very own Officer Weekend, Kirk Landry. Kirk, welcome back once again to the Fat City Studios, sir.
As always, I have so missed this.
Did you now?
Camaraderie.
Yes.
Come on, what?
Camaraderie.
Come and ride on it.
Camaraderie.
Oh,
Come and ride with me.
Come and go? You come and go?
Come and ride on a fantastic voyage.
Oh. Slide, sippity slide.
Man, I appreciate Lee bringing us a little bit more current than our Comic Chameleon reference.
I was going back down to Bewitched and Leave It to Beaver and Dick Van Dyke Show.
Oh, yeah. What's old is new again, man.
That's
so,
right.
hey.
Yeah. I was going with Nelly with the come ride with me part.
Oh.
But, must be the money. All right.
hey. Oh. Hey, man, quick second. I want to chat a little Disney thing that put a smile on my face today.
Oh, wow.
And brought me back to Happy Days Gone Past, if I may.
Is this like one of those magical moment, Kevin?
Kinda, but
things?
not as big as those usual other magical moments, So I figure, I'll just address it in the intro because it made me smile. And
Okay.
you guys might remember this.
Well, you
too.
smile because it'll make me smile if you smile.
And if
will,
he's smiling, I'm smiling.
He's definitely
If y'all
smiling.
all
if I'm
smile, I'm smiling.
All smiles.
I'm over Klimt.
I need a sideways smile.
That sounds uncomfortable.
None of us have that. Okay, anyway, so
You know what that means.
Working my way around that, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll explain
Like
later.
tilt the head and smile?
No.
Okay, that's creepy.
But that's okay. Look, this morning my daughter wanted to play Super Mario Wii, and she goes and gets the Wii controllers. And in the process of getting controllers, she finds this magic band, a little gray magic band. On the back of it, you know how you can customize the names on it?
Yes.
The name that happened to be on there is like, what's this? And I look at it, and I was like, oh, pork shank.
Oh, wow.
And of course, it's an old magic band. It's not the bulbous one. It was like the skinny one. I was like, oh, that's funny. Pork shank.
That's when we went on vacation.
It was.
Each of our magic bands were customized to our favorite food choices.
Yes.
Exactly. And the reason why I picked pork shanks, because when Gaston's used to serve the pork shank, I used to love to eat it. And he doesn't do that anymore.
No, he does not.
So you can't eat it.
I can't eat it, but I do have it living on that gray magic band that I have in my house, and it made me smile.
And Eli was turkey leg.
I was
That's right.
circling, yes.
And I was Lapu Lapu.
You were Lapu?
And I think, Lee, were you Mickey Bar? What were you?
Probably Mickey Bar. I would guess. I need to drag that magic band out myself and check it out.
See that a Dole Whip, right?
Yeah, it was either that or Dole Whip.
Mickey Bar over Dole Whip for sure.
That's true.
Yeah, if I know Lee.
But I'm surprised she found that. I had no idea where that was, and she found it. And I was like, oh, that's awesome, pork shank. So I kept it.
That's awesome that was a very easy thing for you to explain to, because that could have went so many different ways.
Could have been, yeah.
Yeah, we should have those hanging in the studio. We should do that.
You should bring that.
People like you are the reason that Disney is discontinuing the free magic bands. Y'all just got them laying all over the house, like, off in the corner somewhere. Disney's like, man, we're giving all y'all these free magic
Well,
bands. I don't even appreciate
there's nothing
it.
free about a Disney trip. Like, if you get a piece of rubber out of it, that's saying a lot.
No, wait, time out. It's not like they gave us a freaking long-lasting battery
Exactly.
for them.
Yeah, that's
know?
the reason to discontinue in Magic.
Yeah, that's it. I paid $4,000. All I got was a piece of rubber. You kidding me? And you fussing at me saying it's
You
free?
got an existential moment on a rock.
I still
got
paid
a
for
lot.
that. I had to pay to go to the rock.
But it was worth it.
I was like little Grey Goose Yoda. You know, that was.
I
the
was
world
there.
rock
I know it was
had.
worth it because I saw the tears coming out your eye.
You watched my spirit.
Listeners, not
transferred, yes.
Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. I got to clarify.
Oh, thank you, Kevin. I appreciate
an
that.
actual rock, not Dwayne Johnson. He didn't have
Not that
existential moment
Eli
on
would
The Rock.
not sit on
the rock. Yeah, right. You know, if you smell what he's cooking, absolutely. There you go. It's the man. There you go. But
Anyway,
yeah, A-Rock,
yeah, let's just leave that one alone.
Sideways smile.
Sideways
There you
smile.
go.
So my weekends, ladies and gentlemen.
Smile for me, sideways
rock.
As I stated at the top of the show, guys, we are discussing the start of the Marvel Cinematic Universe Phase 4 with the release of the television series WandaVision, in which the first 2 episodes were released. So, guys, enough of my jibber jabber. Let's go discuss some WandaVision magic.
Be our guest. Be our guest. Put our service to the test. Tie your napkin.
And here we are in guest services, and this is a segment in which we get to service you, the listener. And we got an email that's titled "Hello Again."
Oh wait, we got an email. I thought guest services was just when we had Kirk on.
Yay! Old segment.
Do you feel serviced?
I'm so serviced right now. I got to go lay down.
Oh,
I need a cigarette.
And my arm is tired. So
Yeah. Good host you are, sir.
yes, indeed. I host to completion.
I appreciate all the serviceness I got.
And that's how we do it in the Fat City Studios.
Yeah. I've heard rumors about the Fat City Studios, and I'll tell all y'all they are correct.
The rumors are true.
Everyone is true.
All the
Everybody's
rumors.
not booking their plane flights with Lila Stovica now to come to the Fat City Studios, so they too can be serviced.
COVID not included.
COVID not included. Okay,
COVID not
that's right. Okay, anyway, so we got an email from Evenstar I was going to say 1991 too, but I'll just say 19912.
Wow, that's a lot of numbers.
We'll just say that. But anyway, she says, "Hello again. This is Charlotte from Pennsylvania checking in."
Oh, couldn't we just say that? We got an email from Charlotte from Pennsylvania.
I really wanted to say Evenstar because that's just a cool thing. I don't know why.
Evenstar.
Thought to ride like 19922.
Disney.
Oh.
So anyway, she says, this is Charlotte from Pennsylvania checking in. Sorry, it's been a while, but we, of course, have not stopped listening.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
We have been busy with the holidays and the craziness that has been the end of 2020 and the beginning of 2021. Your podcast has since been our escape and excuse to laugh. We will thank you again and again for this. Happiness and laughter is something that we have learned to cherish in this year, and your podcast, along with our shared Disney love, has done the trick. Please all stay safe and healthy, and I can't wait for COVID-19 to be behind us. When it is my husband, son, and I are coming to New Orleans to celebrate, and drinks are on us.
Oh, wow.
That's
Love
a
it.
guest service.
Now that is a magical moment right
you
there.
And she included that with a smiley face, what looks like, I guess, sunglasses, star sunglasses. I mean, that fits in New Orleans, right?
That's a
you can have
cool
it guys
emoji.
do shit.
Yes.
But she ends it, she says, "Thank you so much again, and keep on doing what you do. If there's anything I can do for your podcast, please let me know." And that's Charlotte R. from
Well,
Pennsylvania.
you did it, Charlotte. That's the best thing anyone could do.
Please
is
leave
to-
a review in iTunes and
You tell him, Lee.
And please join the Magic Our Way Pleasure Island Facebook group and introduce yourself.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah,
Ladies
that's
and your
another way to
husband.
I prefer the right. Hey, the write-ins always make it on the show.
Absolutely.
Facebook
Yeah.
comments, not so much.
That's a
Can I
must.
ask when did this email come in?
This came in January 7th, 9 days ago.
Wow.
yeah, this is current for us. Over a week old.
We are doing good.
Very current
This is
for
much
what
better than what we do.
That is awesome.
That's
That
how
is
you
awesome.
bring in 2021, boys. Right off the
See,
bat.
Myself as a sometimes a person on that podcast, but also a listener, I like to hear that especially after this messed up year we've all had, messed up year was last year, that you could bring a little happiness to somebody's life, distraction away from everything else, all the other bull crap that's going on, and just to escape into just listening, having fun, living some Disney life.
No, look, we would have done it last week, but unfortunately, thank you for the well wishes for being healthy and whatnot, but that did not work out for us here at the Magic Our Way podcast.
Yes, indeed.
And Danny's alluding to, this is only our second recording of 2021.
Right. We would have done this. Yes, we would have absolutely done this podcast last week, but we had an emergency meeting, so COVID didn't stop us too much.
No.
We were able to still record, so we're good.
We just had to do a little segment remotely and whatnot, but yeah, there was a little COVID incident here at the Magic Our Way podcast.
Came very close to home, so we had to take a week off, but we still had a show for you guys because we were prepared.
Mm-hmm. As you heard, prepared.
That's right. But anyway, yeah, Charlotte, look, thanks, man. Thanks to you and your husband for listening. It's always a pleasure to hear from you guys and what you're doing. Yeah, tell your friends and just keep writing in. We love to hear from our listeners, especially the ones that like us.
Because we're never sure if people do find us funny outside of these four walls.
We don't get a lot of feedback as much as you think, which is why we don't do guest services often.
And whenever somebody reaches out, it's always, hey, we're coming to New Orleans. Can we meet up? And we have met up with a lot of people.
We want to meet you.
Yes. We will. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Knowing that drinks are on y'all, wow,
we will meet you.
That just sweetens the pot.
Yeah.
So, guys, look, man, if you want to get in touch with us to share your love or just to write your opinions, because all opinions are always welcome on the show, shoot us an email at show@magicourway.com.
Who's next?
This was for our boy Potato Ed. We just wanted to give our support to you and thank you for listening to us, and just want to let you know that our hearts and spirits are with you during this time. Thank you very much.
We're thinking about you, man.
Yeah.
We're thinking about you.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, man. Good luck.
Hey everyone, as always, the news coming in and around Disney World and Disneyland and just everywhere in the whole Disney universe just seems to be coming left and right, fast and furious. This week, Disneyland announced that they are doing away with the annual pass program. This is the official release from Disney. Due to the continued uncertainty of the pandemic and limitations around the reopening of our California theme parks, we will be issuing appropriate refunds for eligible Disneyland Resort annual passports and sunsetting the current annual passport program. Current annual passport holders will receive communication from us directly. Please visit disneyland.com/passport refund for the refund information. So, just a couple quick thoughts. Number one, it does say sunset, so maybe as the sun sets, eventually the sun will rise. So I got to imagine that hopefully this will come back in time. But a lot of people are really upset about this and just raising all kinds of hell on all the social media platforms. And I just got to say personally, like the way I look at this, it just seems like the natural thing to do right now. I mean, the parks aren't even open yet, Disneyland that is. We all know that Disneyland is a very locals-driven park, so a lot of that is going to be annual pass holders. So if they were to continue selling annual passes with no opening date in sight, and once they do open, they're going to have obviously restricted
capacity.
Entry. Yeah, so how could you in good conscience sell something that you're not going to be able to make good on? How would you feel if you had an annual pass and you decided, hey, let's go to the park today, and you show up and oh, sorry, we're at capacity. You're basically paying for something you're not able to use. So I get it, and I know that no one's happy about it, but I don't think this is the worst thing that could happen right now. I think they got to be smart and they got to do the right thing, and I think it's the right thing to do for the client is to not sell them something that they can't use. So hopefully we'll be back. We'll keep you guys updated as with all the latest news, but I just wanted to, throw this out there, let everyone know what is going on, and hopefully we will be back to normal sooner than later.
Man, what a bunch of passholes, man.
How long have you been having that one waiting?
Since yesterday.
I thought Lee did a good job summing this up on Facebook, and I'm glad he we don't know the amount of annual pass holders out there, but I heard somebody estimate that it was close to 1 million.
Damn.
It was a lot, yeah.
Yeah, wow. There's a lot.
My cousin was affected by that, too.
Yeah,
exactly. So, I mean, the minute that those parks open up, people are going to storm the gates, and so I don't have a problem. This is not akin to the Magical Express for me, where this kind of affects travel going forward to parks that are still active, because literally we were just talking about it. We can't wait to go back to Disneyland.
Yeah.
I feel for the people who have made Disneyland an everyday part of their lives. in California, but I'm sure when something is announced and something is in line, they're going to announce what they're going to do for locals.
Who knows when that'll take place or what it'll look like, but hey, stay tuned. I'm sure it's going to be released, and we're going to find out exactly what that is. I'm guaranteed we're going to talk about it on the show.
Can I ask you this, though? Do we go to, does the Club 33 list get cleared now? Can we?
Is it safe?
Yes.
Can we jump on it?
Right.
Can we get a lottery system going?
Yes. I mean, because clearly, look, you're going to cut out all the annual pass holders. Can we clear that Club 33 list so we can get on it? Just asking.
I'll be game.
I would. I mean, there's a few of us. We can pool resources.
Exactly.
Yes. What do you think?
I'll chip in.
You chip in?
I'll chip in.
Give me like a year and I can build up some cash.
Well, with quarantine, we can build up the cash for it.
Yeah.
I'll throw in like $20 from all the commissions I've been making this year.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
What's the membership dues? Do we know?
Oh, God, I've never even looked into
It's
it.
like $10,000 for a year.
Yeah,
we can do
number
that.
was in my head, 10,000. I don't know if that's accurate.
How much it is?
About 10,000. I'm sure, at least something
For
like
like a century?
no, for a year.
Oh, yeah, all right. I mean, let me get this
But it's
fifth job on the hand and then
exclusive. It's in New Orleans Square.
It's probably cheaper to get a Saints Superdome suite.
yeah, I was gonna say, look, if we need to make that happen for the sake of the show, I'll figure out something. I mean, I may not have a house when I come back, but it's
Small price to pay. So
very small.
Who needs a house when you have a club?
That's exactly it.
Well, guys, look, very interesting news development for sure, and I look forward to hearing what Disneyland has to offer in the coming months to those guys. I know my family's been affected by it out there in California because she no longer can use her annual pass, and so it's crazy for sure. But
Yeah.
Stay tuned. This is an ongoing story, I'm sure, and we'll see what happens, guys. Mohicans, ladies and gentlemen, here we are on the Hub, the main topic segment of our show. For this episode, we are discussing the first 2 episodes of WandaVision Season 1, which began its Disney Plus run on Friday, January 15th, 2021 in the United States of America. In case you haven't seen these episodes yet, we will start, as always, with a quick non-spoiler discussion, but then quickly transition into a spoiler-filled discussion. However, we will be sure to give you ample opportunity to hit pause before we jump right into it. So look, the episodes don't have titles as The Mandalorian did, so let's begin our non-spoil portion of the show with our feelings about how this season started. Or actually the series, I guess, started. What do you guys think? Who would like to go?
Like just how the episodes were?
Yeah, like so here they've been teasing about this for a year, or not years, maybe over the past year and stuff. A good while. We've been expecting WandaVision, and they lead off. These are the first 2 episodes of the entire series, not just the season, but the entire series. Phase 4. This is how they start. What are your thoughts about it?
All right, let me start because I want to sit back.
Because you're the Marvel expert. You should start.
That's it. That's what I was thinking.
So I can sit back and listen to the experts because
There is one expert. There may be 2 with Kirk in the room.
I think
but
we
go
are
ahead.
experts in a sense, yeah.
I mean, there is definitely one top tier expert in the room, but you all are more experts about Marvel stuff than I am because to me, like I watched this and I thought, man, okay, so that was definitely a show. It definitely had actors. There was lots of dialogue, and I have no idea what any of that was about. I mean, my main thing is I took away from it's like, I think you definitely need a certain level of Marvel knowledge to enjoy this show. Unlike, say, The Mandalorian, where it's just a cool story to watch, some people shoot each other and spaceships and stuff. You know, whether you know anything about Star Wars or not, I think you can really like enjoy The Mandalorian. I'm not sure how much I can enjoy this show without some level of knowledge, background, etc. on Marvel. Because if there's any inside jokes or references or Easter eggs, I definitely didn't catch any of that. So this did not leave me as a non-Marvel person, you know, itching to come back and check out the next show. But I'm hoping that will change as whatever this mystery is behind, you know, what the show is about and why they're there and things like that. As that starts to unfold, I think I'll probably be more engaged. But for the first 2 shows, I was just like, oh, all right, cool. Well, I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about on the podcast.
All right, so Lee, quick question, man. If like you weren't doing this podcast, was that enough to get you to watch next week?
from what I saw the first 2 weeks, no. Like if I wasn't doing this show, I would probably just be like, oh, this isn't for me, you know. And I'm not saying anything like if you like it, great. I'm not trying to, you know, talk down on anyone that enjoyed it. It's just it didn't engage me, and I didn't understand it. And outside of it being obviously like set in Leave It to Beaver / Bewitched times, whatever, I got that part of it. But other than that, I was just like, I have no idea what's going on here.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about we let Eli go last?
Yes,
because he's a Marvel expert. Unless you want to go first.
No, that's cool. I'll agree.
I was going to say, why don't we let Kirk? Let's let Kirk go next.
I'm good with that because I do have some questions for the Marvel experts.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, I just heard a very confused review, and I certainly understand where Lee's coming from.
Yeah, I do too.
But I have other things to say as well. But I think somebody else more expertise in Marvel comics and lore should probably speak. So, seeing that you're the Marvel guru and that is what you do, I think Kirk is the Marvel. What would you call yourself, Kirk?
I don't know. What's below guru?
What's below guru?
Are you a Marvel enthusiast?
Advisor?
You're the Marvel cuckold.
I don't know exactly what that word means, but it doesn't sound
Just
good.
love it.
I can mean good things.
You know what? I do not
on
want
what
to
side
go
of the
down.
corner you're on.
I do not want to go into the Magic Hour Way history as the Marvel cuckold. It doesn't sound good. I will say
that's an honor.
enthusiast.
That's an honor. I'm sorry.
I mean, look, you could
Been
be
reading Marvel comics for quite a while.
You could be a Marvel watcher, right?
Be a
That's
watcher.
the same thing as being a cuckold.
I've got hair, not bald, so I can be a watcher.
But there's the cat. Yeah, there's a.
All right, so Kirk, what are your thoughts on this? You go next.
What do you think, sir?
Particularly, I loved it. I loved it. I love the where it's going. It's knowing Wanda the way the character the way I do with her magic powers, with her chaos magic, reality altering powers. I think it's perfect. Somebody's manipulating her behind the scenes. Don't want to get too much into it yet. It's just, I love that. I'm intrigued. I want to see where it goes. I caught up on, I can't say all the Easter eggs. I'm sure somebody will have some that I didn't catch. But I caught up on a lot of Easter eggs that are there, showing there's something behind the scenes here. I can understand where people watch this and expect, these, after 22 movies of Marvel, we're looking for action. We're looking for Tony Stark. We're looking for all these things. And these shows, we didn't get any of that. You just got quirky. Maybe it's because I'm old, but I really like the way these shows laid out.
You're old?
Like the retro?
A little bit. Yeah, the Dick Van Dyke, Bewitched.
I love
Lucy,
Lucy
type thing. Yeah, I love that. That appealed to me. And I can see how audience nowadays may not appeal to them, but I liked it. I really liked the corny humor, the way she would, way they would talk to the camera, not without talking in the laugh track.
Yeah,
that was awesome. I just love the way
the laugh track was funny. Yeah, I thought that was hilarious. Yeah,
and some of the kind of corny jokes that they would pull out, and of course, Deborah Jo Rupp, I think her name is.
Yeah,
from That 70s Show.
Yeah, from That 70s Show.
That was even awesome.
But
great. Except for the point where she went that certain line she kept repeating back and forth. Yeah,
Hey, spoilers,
that was kind of creepy.
Spoilers!
Stop. Y'all are invading.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to go too far with that.
Our spoiler-free environment. We can talk about that a little bit later. Okay.
Very nice. Very nice.
Safe space.
All right, Kevin, I'll let you go next. Go ahead.
Let me go next. Okay. So I was, so I watched it with my wife and a friend of ours that was over that's been staying with us at the house. But yeah, so my friend said, he this wasn't what he expected. My wife fell asleep, but I was excited. And I know because there's probably some background to it, but I was excited just to see how Marvel's going and just to see these characters. I related to the old TV sitcoms that they use as the basis for these things. I'm hopeful for and I don't think this is a spoiler, I'm hopeful for the Agents of S.W.O.R.D. thing it is kind of implied, but I don't know if I'm reading in too much with that.
No, you're not. It's pretty overt.
Yeah, I'm not a big comic knowledge base as a lot of my cohorts are. The rest of my cohort, but it's like I know enough to not be dangerous, but to know a little something. So I'm excited about the Agents of S.W.O.R.D. thing, mainly because, and I don't think that's giving anything away again, because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ended, and I'm hoping characters that transverse into Agents of S.W.O.R.D. I will find them from S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm sorry, characters from S.H.I.E.L.D. will go into Agents of S.W.O.R.D. and we'll hopefully see that whole arc start to develop.
So they were characters in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. from Agents of Sword.
Well, no, it's the implied thing that may happen. So I don't know if they will or not. Even if they're not, I think that'd still be cool to have.
I don't think you've seen enough of the Agents of Sword, which again might be a little bit spoilery, so I don't really want to go into too much. But I don't think you've seen enough yet to imply that. But it is a logical assumption.
It's a logical, yeah. So in that respect, I'm excited. Yeah, if I had no background going to this, I'd probably be like, oh, this is pretty crazy. Okay, so Vision and Wanda are doing this thing, and we'll get into those details a little bit later. But I'm intrigued. I'm ready to see next week. You know what's funny? All three of my girls. I have girls age 11, 9, and 6. They all loved it. You know,
really?
Yeah. I watched it twice, and I was about to watch it a third time today, and they were excited to see it again. And my middle child, she's like, "When does the next one come out?" I was like, "Friday." It's like, "Oh."
Can I say something that does not surprise me, because a lot of people, one of the criticisms I heard about this show is that younger people will have a tougher time following along because they don't get all the references to all these sitcoms that came in the past. And to me, it's like the good thing about those sitcoms that came in the past is that they were universally meant to appeal to everyone. Kid, teen, adult, older adult.
The family that was watching the TV.
It hit everybody. So those jokes, which, many a times they were telegraphed and you could see them coming a mile away, and sometimes they were forced, sometimes they were downright funny. I will say it was a mixed bag, but I never saw that as a critique of the show, that people, because they couldn't understand that the set was an exact replica of this or that or whatever, couldn't understand it. The only thing I would say is that if anybody came up to me and said, "Do you recommend watching this show?" I'd be like, "I don't know."
That's fair. That's absolutely fair.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm interested, but I can't recommend it right now because I don't know. And they're like, well, just tell me what it's about.
Can't tell you.
I don't know.
It's fair.
It's pretty out there, right?
It's pretty out there, but if you like watching Nick at Night, there's going to be some things in there that you're really going to appreciate and it's really going to resonate with you, and there's going to be an element of it that you're intrigued with. And just speaking for myself, I was a huge Star Trek The Next Generation fan, and my favorite Star Trek The Next Generation episodes came when those mystery episodes came along that you didn't know what was happening and they were trying to figure it out as it went. Having said that, I don't know that I would be as big of a fan of those shows if I had to wait multiple episodes for what has to play out in order for me to understand where this story is going. And I think that is an overall weakness of this show, is that, and this is Disney program, we talked about this with The Mandalorian, they hide that story arc pretty damn good. That the way they get you coming back is come back to find out what the story arc is. Whereas most TV shows, the story arc is given to you in the first episode, and every episode thereafter builds upon what happened in that original story, and it just adds to the intrigue and adds to the mystery. And some of those episodes about world building and character building, some of those episodes advance the plot, but you know where you're going and you can't wait to go on that journey. This is a ticket that you're punching and you have no idea where you're going.
So Danny, it sounds like maybe episode 3, going off of the Mandalorian experience we've had. Do you think episode 3 will be one that kind of determines your decision on this?
Perhaps, but then again, I remember the first, when you watch the first 2 episodes of The Mandalorian, you're right. In the second season, you had no idea what was going on. And again, you felt like you were set to see. But then all of a sudden it's like, well, you need to find this Jedi. And then they find the Jedi. And it's like, okay, you need to go to this rock. And then they find the rock. And then the kid gets kidnapped. And you need to save the kid. And each episode is built. And that was more the traditional storytelling that you're used to with TV. The original season of The Mandalorian was a little bit more of a mixed bag. This was a filler episode. This was not a filler episode. And that's the thing. Is like when you have a show where you're keeping the overlying story arc hidden, it really allows you to indulge in the filler. And these shows, and tell me if I'm wrong, to me are 95% filler. They're concentrating on the filler.
You talking about this show, or you just say just in general?
These last 2 episodes.
Yeah, the first 2 episodes.
These last 2 shows are 95% filler.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And 5% hinting at something underlying that's going on underneath the surface that makes you want to tune in from episode to episode. So it's a hard thing to say whether or not I'm intrigued, I'm interested, I'm not invested.
Is that a fine line for you?
No, not a fine line, but it is one of those things where I would happily give up watching the next 2 to 3 episodes so I can watch it and enjoy it as a cohesive story, which I think these kind of stories are more enjoyed as. And having said that, I've talked too long because Eli hasn't had a chance to talk at all.
No, you're
That's
fine.
fair. And just to let the listeners know, these episodes are roughly about 25 minutes each. So it just, unlike The Mandalorian, which is an hour, they're releasing, I thought it was just going to be the first week, but they're releasing 2 episodes a week, it sounds like, yes?
Equal to an hour.
Equal to an hour, yeah. So that equates to one
it.
So I'm
And
okay with
it
that.
also fits old-time sitcoms, which are half an hour.
Yes, this is true. You're right.
Yes.
All right, so let's turn it over to our Marvel expert. This is 2021. Eli, I'm
Yes,
turning
sir.
over to you because I have questions.
The final
But,
word.
but you,
Our guru. That's what you're here for.
That's what I'm here
lead
for.
off with your thoughts about how Marvel Cinematic Universe Phase 4 started, how this series started. Eli, take it away, sir.
I would say, first of all, the intro with just seeing the comic flipping again, I got charged
Did
up.
you like that?
I did.
How they did that one?
I did. I liked how they did.
It's been a while.
It's been a long time.
That was the emotion.
You were pumped up.
Emotion back.
Yeah,
Seeing
and-
that, hearing that, and that was awesome.
Well, I think they said it was like 20 months. I think I read something.
18 months.
It's been- yeah.
18, 20
20
months is the last time we saw that.
So yeah, and the thing is, I remember the last time we saw the last movie, MCU movie. I was like, well, guys, it was nice working with you. I quit because there's no. And they're like, no, you gotta stay. We don't have nobody to replace you yet. And so it was good.
Cut to Kirk saying, huh?
Hey, wait,
What
where's my chance?
What?
And so it was good to see the intro, like
Scroll,
the flipping,
yeah.
everything. Now, okay, I have mixed feelings on this show too. To address Lee really quick though, I don't think you need to be a Marvel, super expert to watch the show.
I would agree, yeah.
Like The Mandalorian was kind of like I could watch the show, but if I didn't have Kevin to be like, oh, that's a real cool object, did this happen, that happened. It didn't do anything to the show. It was just something cool to know. So you don't need to be, a Marvel, super expert. It helps, but you don't need to be that to watch the show. Now, as far as like how it's laid out, I think the title WandaVision is pretty cool. Like, you say, it's Wanda, it's Vision, and it's like, here's this perception.
When you talk about the title, can I ask you, like, is it just me, or does it feel like some executive is like, okay, we need to do a show about Wanda and Vision? WandaVision. Kind of sounds like a TV show.
Can we mix that?
Yeah, can we? Really?
I would have took Scarlet Vision, but,
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I want to watch that show. I want to watch that show. Lightning Mater.
Lightning Mater.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. No, it would, but it's because it's like it's just like a mix of the two heroes' names, and it's like okay, got it.
And it's a television series.
And it's a television,
Yeah.
and it's the same thing like you guys said. Now, me personally, I only watched that decade of television with my mom. Like my mom was a fan of I Love Lucy and Hazel and that kind of stuff. I was a 70s kid.
I remember Hazel.
That's a
I don't remember.
Wow.
Hazel
Yeah,
was
my
wild.
mom loved
Yeah, Hazel was a witch.
black and white television. My mom was like, oh yeah, let's watch Law Ranger, stuff like that.
I watched all that stuff in syndication before even Nick and Night. So I used to watch it on like ABC 26 when they run that stuff during the day. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. So she might have been a fan of that era, that genre of television. Like I'm aware of it being like Dick Van Dyke and whatnot, but I gotta admit, since they have powers and stuff, I just said no, that's a Twilight Zone episode. That's kind of how I took it, because I get what you're saying. They have the elements of all those shows, but I mean, Twilight Zone was a black and white TV show too, and so you may as well like that's how I had to take the perception of it as. You know what I'm saying? Like Lucy never took a plate and had it, move or magic or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Samantha from Bewitched did.
Samantha from Bewitched did, and she had a mean mom, absolutely. But then that show got to be put in color too, so
No, I was going to talk about that later. Yeah.
all right, well, fair. So I'll move forward without spoiling anything. So the decade is a little weird, but I got used to that. The thing that I like about it, I watched it with my daughter and her boyfriend, which good old game.
That's always fun.
And so it's very interesting to try to watch something that you're going to review on the show with two people that, even though they know you're watching it for the sake of reviewing it, don't really give a if you're trying to pay attention to it. They're just going to talk over it anyway. So I had to watch it like 3 times. Basically.
No, I'm the same way. I watched it with my kids, and I didn't realize they were actually paying attention. And it's like I'm watching it, and it's like I'm enjoying it. And then when I put it on again, they're like, "Oh yeah, WandaVision. Let's watch it again."
Yeah.
I'm like, what? So we pay attention to this?
So your girls. What's the oldest?
11 years
That's
old.
what I'm
11
saying.
years old. So she was born in 2000.
Yeah, but it
sounds like
2009. Yeah,
And they like that.
You had the
Wow.
opposite reaction as to what he had.
So,
was
yeah.
that your girls were into it, and his kids were talking through it.
But my
Yeah.
girls were into it, but they were also talking through it. So I was like,
Oh,
oh, they're not
okay.
into this. But come to find out, they were. They were.
But you got
Like, what?
You got children. I got like
Oh,
adults.
you have a college kid.
I
Yeah,
have
that's
kids
right.
that are like in their 20s, and so I explained to them the purpose of, like, I want to watch the show. This is why I'm watching it. You're welcome to watch it with me because there's no other television in this house but here. So that's what I'm watching. So I think the thing I picked up the most is pretty much I like the mystery aspect of it. That's really the only thing that
The
can really,
mystery?
yeah, that can.
I'm with you.
You talk about like the helicopter and all those weird things. That
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to spoil them, but yeah, but like, like how
It's
it.
not giving it away, but
Like, yeah, like you said, like just the different nuances that are in there that don't really have any effect on the show. But since the show's so quirky, I'm like, well, hey, I saw this on this part. Does that mean that this person's involved, or is that person involved? So like as a person that likes comics and then seeing that, I'm enjoying it because I have that kind of knowledge. And so then in that aspect, I want to see if the story's going where I think it's going to go.
Well, to be fair, then does that then buttress what Lee said, which is that I'm not a Marvel expert, so I can't, because I'm with you. I like the mystery aspect of it as well. I'm a sucker for stories like this. I really am. It's just that I'm not used to storytelling being done like this. In order to have, like, generally, if you watch a whodunit, the body's in the first episode,
like, this
and
is
you know
laid out.
exactly where you're going and what you're trying to figure out. There's no body. There's no telling what you're trying to figure out just yet.
It's very abstract.
It's very abstract. But does that not
Cater to what
support
he said?
what Lee said? Because and to that aspect, I do agree with what Lee said in the sense that you kind of have to be a Marvel expert to really understand the subtleties of what is going on beyond the mystery.
because what you're presented with is not enough to.
It's not, but it's like me being a conspiracy theorist. Just because I saw something.
Because you're forced to be.
Yes.
Because you're forced to try to extricate plot out of something that gives you
no plot.
very little in the way of plot.
Yes.
So that's a great point.
Yeah, so like what Lee said, you can watch the show, not know anything, because they're supposed to explain it to you. And I agree with you, Danny, that this is a show that needs to be, like, just like The Mandalorian, it needs to have all episodes out. You just kind of do, because like when it's a mystery, no mystery goes where like you get to the one part, like the second episode has a part in there where I'm like, okay, all right, what's happening? And then it's over. And I'm like, no, if I would have streamed it, now you would have had me for the next one. So it's just quirky to where you have to dig for it.
Well, that's why it's good to have two Marvel experts here on this show, because I will say that is exactly the same experience I had watching The Mandalorian. What you compared, that's how I felt, which is that I would watch The Mandalorian and be like, okay, what was that? Okay, let me go to the internet and find out why what I just saw was cool. Oh, they're dark soldiers. Oh, that was a dark saber.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you would learn things about it, and you're like, oh, that's why that was supposed to be cool. So do y'all, as the two Marvel experts, think that they catered a little bit more towards fans of the Marvel comics that might be able to pull
Things that are happening in the episode. Or the series,
you.
yes.
Yes, that we as the common viewer are going to be like, yeah, this is just a slow build. Whereas y'all, the build is not slow. It's a little bit more accelerated because they're hinting at certain things that y'all already know about.
Are you asking us both that?
Yes,
both. Yeah,
well, who's a better Marvel expert?
Yeah.
We got an enthusiast and a guru.
I have a follow-up question, but go ahead. Start with that.
Personally, I would say yes. I think they are catering to people who know where they're going to. You already know the first off, the established MCU, you know Wanda is weird. And you know she has some stuff behind her, but there's stuff that you don't know yet. And people who know the comics, and they know the comics origin of Wanda Maximoff, you know the character, you know where it's coming from, and that there's a reason behind all this. That I want that maybe 25 second at the very end of the show. That's about to be spoiler. That ties into the rest of the MCU. That helps you. But yeah, people who know what they're going to, what's building to here, you got a better understanding of what's happening. People who don't, I don't think you would.
I was gonna say it's kind of a. I don't think you need to be the expert to watch it. I think that by knowing, like you say, Kirk, by knowing what their powers are and knowing what they can do from the comics and whatnot, anything is possible. But none of it's really proven. And so, yeah, none of it's proven. And I think that's the thing. I don't know if these people in this show are counting, like kind of like The Mandalorian, if they just count on the fact that we love this property so much that we'll just kind of ride it out. But I mean, as far as like, if you were somebody that had never read the comics and all you saw was the movie, these are the, like, be honest, like these are the last two people that you really know about. I mean, one of them's dead. And then the other one is like, now that's not spoiling nothing because that's from the movies.
That's one thing I was going to say is because if all you're familiar with is the MCU, you know that Vision is dead so far as we know.
But see what you're doing? You prove my point because he's dead. You don't know much about her except that she do a little magic and she can like lift rocks and
she's weird
and robots.
Well, look, this is it's not my question, but this is something else I was going to touch upon. But in the Disney Plus application, it's funny you guys say this.
Okay.
If you look at the feature area side scroll section at the top,
I didn't even do that.
I did that. If you look at the side scroll section at the
when
top
you're not
of the
an
app,
expert, you got to do that.
Okay, you do that.
the things they have in the side scroll that you can choose from, if you want to watch right now, you have WandaVision. You have Legends, which is their new series about
each of the characters.
Right, and the first two episodes they released in Legends is Wanda and Vision.
Oh.
All right, so you can watch that.
Clever.
You can also watch Avengers Age of Ultron. You can watch Captain America Civil War.
Yeah, okay.
You can watch, you can choose Avengers Infinity War, and you can choose Avengers Endgame. Those are the only things on that feature side scroll thing that they have at the top of the app right now in the United States of America.
That's smart.
So that's interesting that y'all brought that up because it's like, if you're not familiar with this is all you have to go on. So they're giving you things that you can watch to prepare yourselves with these characters. What do you guys think about that?
And the thing is that we've evolved a lot as a podcast because I know in the very beginning when these movies would come out, Kirk, you and I would go hard at them as far as like, well, this is how it was in the comics, and this is like, they did this, they're not doing that. But now what these people are doing is like, hey, we got license, and they did this with Star Wars, and that's what I'm starting to understand. It's like they're like, now we gonna just do this how we want to do it, and so they just kind of cherry pick what can happen. So I think that by being a fan, it helps to accentuate the experience of watching the show because you know anything can happen because you see the comics so you know what this lady can do. But if you're somebody who just watched the movie, all you know is this lady can do is like lift a big rock. She can probably, move some dishes around, but nobody knows the actual capability of what these two characters could do because it didn't really get that from the movie.
To be fair, doesn't the comics every once in a while retcon an ability and then redefine it?
No, absolutely.
Okay.
And they have, but at the same time,
I'm not at all educated, I believe, and in reading the comics,
no, you are smart,
not to
man.
y'all's level, but in reading the comics, I have read some, and in following the movies, I am not at all familiar as to what the defining
things that could happen,
what the limitations and what the abilities are of Vision and the Scarlet Witch. To me, it could be anything, and I would accept it.
Look, I hear what you're saying because look, if we was getting on something about an attraction or part of a park, you got way more books than I do. So I'm totally with you on that. I would just say this: I'm not gonna spoil nothing, but if you look at the credits. If you look at the credits, how deep I went. I ain't looking at features, looking at the credits.
I was looking at the same thing.
I was looking at the same thing. Yeah.
So I looked and I saw some stuff, and I know we'll get into it. And I was like, oh, ain't no way. So as I looked at the credits, And I saw they had special thanks to a handful of people. Actually, one of the people in the credits I talked to when I was in the con one time when I was in the bathroom. And I was like, I love your work, but we'll mention that name if you want later.
Was that after you tapped under your foot under the stall?
Yeah, because I was trying to. That's what I was trying to get a Marvel job back.
Did you say bathroom?
Yeah, the bathroom. Yeah.
Make sure.
What I said.
Hey, a lot of business happens in the bathroom.
It really is. I mean,
It's
that was
bathroom. BAF.
BAF. That's how engrossed I am in this conversation.
Bathroom.
I've got one non-spoiler question to ask them real quick before we move on to spoiler. Unless
did I answer your previous question though? I'm sorry. Did I?
I don't know. I'm looking at Kevin.
Sure.
You're just like, that works for me. Okay.
Sure, whatever.
I just don't want to cut out like you asked the question.
So for watching the first 2 episodes of the series, would you two gentlemen say that would be better to be a Marvel expert and watch this to really appreciate it? Or would it better to be somebody who's more familiar with 50s, 60s TV sitcoms?
Oh, good question. Good question. No whammies. No whammies.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
Well, you have to really be a TV nostalgia lover. And I wasn't watching it with 2 people that watched I Love Lucy or Dick Van Dyke or anything like that.
I'm going to tell you, the Raz has pointed out quite a lot of things in those episodes where it's like, that's the window from Dick Van Dyke. That's the whole setup.
Yeah, I would say my parents who are baby boomers who grew up with that type of entertainment TV show, they would appreciate this a lot more. And myself,
than you as a Marvel expert,
being kind of trained by them, I appreciate it on that level. Because I saw this the first episode. That's the Dick Van Dyke Show.
But this is a good question. So, like, would your parents appreciate this more than what you would? You're a Marvel expert.
I think they would.
Okay.
Watching it, I think I appreciated. First thought that came to me was the feeling of this is an old style 60s sitcom. What I grew up when I was a kid watching with my parents. I mean, just the corny jokes and the woman has to be in the kitchen making the dinner and stuff like that.
Laugh track.
There's like a
fake laugh track stuff.
Commentary on it.
That's what I thinking about that. That's what I caught up off of that.
Little Kirk watched that. Yeah.
Little Kirk watching this, singing "Mama" behind her again. Washing dishes, again, because that's how it was.
Oh, dear.
Kind of family I grew up in.
Beating off the alligators.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Beating off the alligators.
Chasing off the snakes.
Say baiting off the alligators. That sounds kind of weird.
You were beating off the alligators, right?
Beating off the alligators.
No, you went with it. Go with it.
2 different ways.
Accept it. You like beating off alligators.
There's nothing weird about that.
But still.
I see nothing weird.
Alligators need love too. Entertainment like that, that's the kind of stuff that I grew up with. I'm a little bit older than the guys in this room.
Not much, though, because I'm familiar with this stuff, too.
I think that you can be a fan of nostalgia television and then appreciate the commentary that nostalgia television has on the show more than you can a comic expert based upon these 2 episodes.
So, guys, I have one last question before we go to the spoiler-filled part.
Yes, sir.
For the past year or past time since we've talked about WandaVision being released, people have been referencing the House of M. And so I want to know, is the way that this series started related to that story arc that happens in the comic books? What do you guys thought about that?
Is this like wait, but before they answer, is this like a yes or no question? Because in order to get into it, wouldn't that be spoilerish?
No, because it's like it's already out there, the comic book.
Okay.
So if they want to read about the House of M, they could buy it, read it, or whatever else.
Yeah. But like,
so
if
I want to know if it's close to that particular story.
Just don't give examples.
Yes.
Okay.
So, because if it is, don't get examples.
I mean, but no, my fast answer to that is it's too early to tell.
Okay, interesting.
On something like that.
That's an interesting answer. Yeah.
Way to throw your hat over the wall.
There you go. That's how I did that. Now maybe you should. So for those who don't know, House of M. Could I?
Yeah.
Just be careful, because if you're discussing something that you think might happen.
No, I'm just saying what the book is.
Okay.
I mean, that's for clarity's sake,
that's
right?
Fine. The book is already out there, so the listeners have an opportune chance to watch it, buy it. You can download it. I know that.
Yeah, but what if the listeners don't want to do that? What if they want to accept this as it comes, and that book turns out to be a...
Well, maybe we... You know what? How
I'm
about
just
this?
saying,
can we move into the spoiler part? Can we answer the spoiler part? Is that easier to do that?
I think it might be easier to have this discussion.
Just say I hold that
freely.
over to the spoiler part.
All right, so Eli wants to answer this, but he's scared about spoilers, so we're going to transition into the spoiler part of our review. You've been listening to us. You have a chance to hit pause. If you haven't watched the first 2 episodes of WandaVision or read the comic book, you're more than welcome to hit pause right at this moment, and we're about to jump into it. And look, my last question before in the spoiler-less part is about House of M, and we're about to go into this. So, guys, here I am. I'm talking about House of M. What do you guys think? Spoiler filled. Here we go. It starts right now. Eli, go.
Yeah, so it's too early to tell. House of M is a very good graphic novel. It's basically if Scarlet Witch decides that there's no more mutants on the Earth because of something that happens in the comic books.
No more mutants.
No more mutants, and that's what she wishes. And so then she has this.
She's anti-mutant?
Does that mean she kills the mutants or they become human?
Well, what are mutants? We haven't seen mutants in the MCU yet.
Yes, but in the comics we have. Okay, so in the books, there's like a whole X-Men, mutant war and all this other stuff, and then people get killed, and so she's just like, I'm sick of this. And you don't see these powers in the MCU, but in the comics, she just alters reality and just takes away the X gene from all mutants, so all mutants are just normal.
So when she says no more mutants, it's not she kills all the mutants, it's just that all the mutants are normal.
Yeah,
She gets just flat out just like, boom, it's gone?
Yeah, they're just out. So there is a more pristine life that she has, but the thing is that, okay, in this show...
Is she the most powerful Avenger then?
I would venture... I mean, it depends who writes her, right? But
Okay.
yeah, I would venture, yeah.
She has reality-altering powers, so I would say that's pretty powerful.
I would say Jean Grey.
Well,
But she's dead at this time, isn't she?
well, no, now we're cross mixing. Don't cross
the street.
Yeah,
Don't cross the street. All right, never mind.
But I mean, she might be the most powerful woman. But yeah, they both can alter a lot of stuff. But for the sake of this discussion here, if you're talking about this show, it's kind of hard to say that because it's very early. There's only 2 episodes, and they live in this TV style life. And in the comics, she just lives a normal life. She has, now there is some references, I guess you could say, because it's spoiler, right? So
The House of M?
Yeah, we're totally spoiler. You can,
Okay,
we're totally spoiler, yeah.
Now, okay, can I just hit Can I just hit the 2 episodes like crisscross if I want to?
just make sure
yeah.
you ground it for the listeners so they understand what the House of M is and they understand what you're referencing. Because we have House of M where she wishes all mutants lose their powers.
All mutants lose their powers,
Which
and
doesn't seem like what we're seeing here because they actually still have their powers.
Right, and you don't really have mutants in the
They're
MCU.
just trying to adjust in a comical way.
Right, they try to do those things. So that's the comic book.
Yes.
Now, she has a nice life in the comic books where, Magneto and Daddy, and he's like, hey, here's some cookies and all that kind of stuff. So I can see if you want to force a correlation.
There again, you might want to let the listeners understand what that means.
I don't remember
'Cause
cookies in
in
that.
the
I was having fun with
MCU.
cookies.
I don't remember that.
In the MCU,
In the MCU, Magneto
has
is
not been introduced. We don't know that Magneto is Scarlet Witch's daddy. So maybe you want to Really?
I didn't know
Really?
that.
Oh wow,
Wanda and Pietro Maximoff.
yeah, Quicksilver.
Give me that
serious?
bottle.
Yes, I'm dead serious. Magneto
I had
is
no idea.
but that's in the comics. You don't like
In the comics, yes.
but in the movies,
But in
you
the
don't
movies,
know.
no.
I
It
guess
could
you would
be-
have to go with it from people who are
That's what I'm
strictly
saying. You've gotta do
MCU
spoilers.
fans. No, they don't know anything about the comics.
They might know Magneto from the Fox universe films, but there's nothing in the Fox universe films that would indicate that, again, Wanda Maximoff, Scarlet Witch, Wanda is Magneto's child.
Yes.
So it sounds like
Or Quicksilver for that matter.
Quicksilver.
So
yes.
it sounds like for those that are familiar with the comic books, you have to make that distinction.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fair. No,
That's
that's
absolutely-
that's totally true.
In order to not get confused. right?
Yes.
Okay.
Now on to the WandaVision. Okay, so the only thing I can really see is that in House of M, as part of her perfect world without the mutants in the comics, she had kids. Which in WandaVision, she shows up pregnant.
Episode 2, yes.
Magically pregnant. Which she can do. Because Vision, I didn't like one of
Well, they pushed the beds together.
Yeah, they did push the beds together. You know what happens when a microbe meets a whatever, fallopian tube things happen. Babies mysteriously come out of nowhere. I don't, but yeah,
that's how she had the name Wanda Waxamoff.
Yeah, you don't need vision to see that. There you go. So those are the only few kind of correlations that I can see. And like we were talking earlier, Kirk, right? Brian Michael Bendis, who wrote House of M, he is one of the special thanks credits in this WandaVision. If you go through the credits, his name is.
Oh, so was that the name you were referencing before?
No, that was a different dude. But that was about the sword thing.
Okay. We'll talk about that. Categorize a little bit.
Yeah,
okay.
But that's all I have to say on that. It's too early to tell, but you can see if you had to put some ties together, you can see where certain things could meet.
All right. So cool, guys. Look, let's take each episode in order, and I will provide a quick reference summary for each episode for the listeners to remind them what this is about. Now, as I mentioned at the top of the segment, this show does not have episode titles for the show, so we'll start with this, episode 1. In episode 1, we see an intro reminiscent of TV sitcoms in the 1950s, and the interior house layout looks similar to Dick Van Dyke Show. However, in this intro, Vision doesn't trip over the chair as Dick Van Dyke did in his intro, but rather walks through it as Vision is known to do. We discover that they live in Westview. We are introduced to Agnes, and we see where Vision works. The main plot revolves around a dinner night with his boss and the boss's wife, Mr. and Mrs. Hart, in which Wanda has to whip up a gourmet meal last minute. Mr. Hart chokes on his food, and Vision reaches into Mr. Hart's throat and helps him. After the saving act, good things happen as Vision will most likely get a promotion at work.
There's something so perverted about Kevin saying that he reached into Vision's mouth and helped him.
You like that?
It also helps when you can see him.
It does.
It does, yes.
Yes. You see the sexual twinkle in that eye, don't you?
Stick a needle in my
That's
eye.
why Eli starts over there and slowly moves more this way every episode. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes. So that's what happened in episode 1. We're concentrating on this particular first episode. What are you guys' thoughts on this?
Intro was cute. With him walking through the door and then she can't, she falls, yes. And so the intro is neat. The plot is weird, but it's just all quirky. It's just all quirky. Like you said, you don't really see all of their powers. It's not like a big bad superhero battle, nothing like that. So that's a change of pace. But the really quick, the part where, like you said, he reached into his throat ever so lovingly and pulled out the food. I'm surprised the guy wasn't like, "The did you do that?"
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
But it's a weird episode.
Stop it!
Weird episode.
Did y'all catch that when she kept saying "stop it, stop it, stop it"? At first, she's looking at her husband, but her husband collapses on the floor. Yeah, she's looking right at Wanda when she keeps saying "stop it."
Yes, she says "stop it,"
and she's looking weirder and weirder as she says
and
it.
the camera kind of zooms in funky.
And you look at Vision, and Vision's like, "Are you going to tell me to help this dude or what?" I mean, because we need to do something about this, and you're the only thing stopping this from happening. So it really kind of gives you the impression that Wanda is in control of what's happening.
Yeah, because based on movies, Vision's dead.
Yeah, but that's what makes it Twilight Zone-y to me.
Very much so.
Plus, he still had the Mind Stone in his head, and we know that's gone.
Well, we don't know. We don't know when this is taking place. What if this is taking place in the snap? What if that's what's happening?
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Everything I read is taking place after Endgame.
Okay. And fair enough. To be fair, I just said it took place after the snap, but Vision died pre-snap, now that I think about it. Didn't he?
He did, because he had to
tear that thing out of his head.
That's the thing. She makes a joke. Oh, my husband and his indestructible head, and you saw a chunk of his head get pulled out. So that was a reference back to that.
But that's what I think. It's so weird and quirky and that is a good point. It's not like they tie themselves to the movies, so you don't get any point of reference. That's a great point. It's just makes you focus on what's going on in this particular episode. I did think it was cute when they had the heart and they were trying to figure out if it was
what that was.
Yeah, and they didn't know what any events meant. They didn't know what an anniversary was. They didn't know what anything was. Like Valentine's Day, they didn't know any of that.
Where we're from.
Can I ask you this? Like in the Avengers, in the last one that they did, they returned. They returned the stones to the moment they were stolen, right? when did they return the Mind Stone?
Probably when on the fields of Wakanda.
Yeah, would have got Wakanda.
So that would have been right around the exact same time. So maybe Vision is alive.
That's the thing. That's what we were talking about earlier, the pre-spoiler part. If you're a person who likes the genre and you love the world, there are a lot of bits and pieces that you can kind of build for yourself. And you have to make that the fun part, I think, of this show, of this series.
I'm still like in a blur about this whole thing. Like, to me, I just saw like, oh, this is a funny show. They're playing off the 50s era TV shows, blah, 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 blah. And then at the end, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. This is more Twilight Zone than it is Leave It to Beaver.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? So like, that's what I'm more interested in. Once that part catches up, I think I'm going to enjoy the show a little more. But, so that's kind of what I'm kind of chomping at the bit to get to, so that my non-Marvel ass can, like enjoy the show. But like, I did enjoy like the kind of quirky little jokes and, things like that. And like, he almost left the house without putting his face on. And, he's got the coworkers that like, there's nothing even amiss that he goes through like 300 pages in 5 minutes when they, it's like, they don't think nothing else about it. Like, oh, this guy's just really good at his job. So it's like those parts, I enjoyed it for what it was, but I'm just really waiting for this mystery part to kind of take over more of the story so that I can feel more engaged in it. But
I agree with what you're saying. And as a fan of the Marvel Comics, and as a fan, and then not as an expert, as these two gentlemen, because they clearly collected beyond what I did. And as a fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I'm like, can't you at least give us a sense as to what's going on with this show?
Yeah. No, that's the argument with that.
That's kind of where I'm at. I just feel like I don't want to watch anymore. I want to watch. I want to let the episodes accumulate till I get a sense as to, okay, when I tune in, I can get a sense as to what this is. Because as it is right now, again, if a casual person stopped me on the street and said, hey, should I watch this? My answer would be, I don't know.
But you didn't need to be a Marvel expert we're only on the first episode. You didn't need to be a Marvel expert to watch that, right?
Yes. I think you do, because I think you have to be a Marvel expert because they're counting on you to already be invested in these characters. Otherwise, why would you give a
But you know who Vision is, and you know why it's from the movies.
You just reinforced what I said. They're counting on you to be invested in these characters. Is exactly what I just said. And because of your investment,
it's the same as being you had no idea who Mulder and Scully were in 1991. X-Files. Who are these characters? I don't know who the hell they are.
But the story is built in such a way that you caught on pretty quickly as to what's going on. You don't have to know any. Like, you should be able to say, I don't know who this weird robot dude is, and this girl, doesn't even look like she belongs in this world. But how's this story going to play out, and what's going to happen to them, and what's going to be their challenges and things like that? And that should all come to light in the first 5 or 10 minutes, at least by the second episode. You know what I mean? Like, there's no introduction, there's no backstory, there's no understanding. So again, I don't want to spoil the mystery. I know that's going to be ultimately what this is about. It's like, how did they get to this world, and how are they, what are their roles in it? But kind of at least build that into the story at first.
And Lee, that's what exactly builds to my point of bringing up the side-scrolling feature area of the Disney app. If you had no idea who these characters are, Disney Plus is telling you, look, watch Legends, watch Age of Ultron, watch Civil War, watch Infinity Endgame, all that kind of stuff.
I'm with Lee. None of that is going to give you what you need to really enjoy this. I mean, to me, it's like...
But that's what the company's hoping.
That's
what they're hoping.
That's what the company said. The company laid it on us.
Well, what they say in Grumpy Old Men, wishing one hand and in the other, and see which one gets filled first.
That's hilarious.
In the dinner party, Kitty asked him, Kitty, who's Kitty? Kitty from 70
Show. The wife, Mr. Hart's wife.
Who are you? How did you get here? Why are you here?
Yeah.
She asked him all those questions. They didn't answer any of those questions.
No.
Simple answer, just answer it.
It's like we all agree that we know. If you're Marvel experts, you all agree that this story is going on in an alternate dimension.
Something weird is happening.
Yeah, something weird is happening, and whether she's in control of it or she's being manipulated by it, and the more they they give you, the more they're lending you to believe she might not be in this because she's against her will, but she is in some essence controlling what's happening. You're getting that suspicion as you're watching the show.
I get you.
It's a little bit harder to follow through with the logic of it without having some appreciation, as you and I were talking about before, of who these characters are and being invested in them. And I think that's why you invest in trying to figure out. You're not trying to figure out the mystery. You're trying to figure out what the mystery is at this point in time, because you pretty much have, if you're a Marvel fan, you pretty much have an idea that there's some kind of alternate dimension where some kind of alternate reality is taking place, and she's working her way through what's going on. Is it happening pre-snap, post-snap, any of these things that go on? Now you're just getting nerdish.
And that's not revealed to you until the very end of the episode, right? When they pull back and there's a TV screen and somebody's taking notes or whatever he's doing and observing what's going on.
And they're giving you the sword logo.
And they had to that was
the sword logo.
And that was the other thing. It's black and white, and all of a sudden at the end, you see something colored, like you said, the logo. And
that's a good stopping point. Why don't we stop right there real quick and let y'all explain what sword is, because we've referenced it a few times.
Yes. Agents of Sword.
So what is sword?
So sword stands for Sentient World Observation and Response Department. So that's that was what I was getting to earlier with the people that the guy met in the bathroom. So like,
what guy did you meet in the bathroom?
I met John Cassidy,
a loyal guy, a loyal subject of Zamunda.
I was like, where my rose petals at?
My king.
Sure.
I will wait to time my life for this moment.
Hey, so so Sword in the comics was at least introduced to me in this new X-Men. Now, here's the funny part about new X-Men. It was Josh Whedon started to write it with this artist, John Cassidy. And
why don't you say what Josh Whedon did?
Oh, well, Josh Whedon, he worked on the Avengers movie. He did Age of Ultron, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
And what else?
Justice League?
And he got fired.
Yes, he got fired. He was gonna do Justice League. And but he worked on this comic book. I was just kind of keeping it, within
positive.
that. Yeah,
but you putting over Josh Whedon like he's a name, and it's like, well, explain the name, because some people may not be familiar.
Fair enough. So the point is that I was like, oh, okay, I saw Sword. I was like, I remember that because there was a lady there that had green hair in the comic books. I'm not sure if she's going to appear.
Green hair?
Yeah, green hair. It's a lady with green hair. She was cool. I just don't know if she's going to appear in this show. But I was like, okay, well, I wonder if that has something to do with that. And so when I looked through the credits, I saw they had special thanks to John Cassidy, who was the artist on that book, and Josh Whedon, who worked on that book. So I was like, oh, okay. Now that's when, like you said, Danny, that's when like the comic, guru thing tries to like piece parts together that aren't there in this show yet. And then I start coming up with just like, just weird theories.
Well, let me just, as a comic book expert, and again, this goes for you and Kirk, then if you're dealing with an agency, like S.H.I.E.L.D. is meant to police activities happening on Earth.
Yeah, it's like cosmic shield.
So how would this activity that we're seeing in WandaVision affect the galaxy?
I mean, but now we're just talking theory, but yeah.
But it's plausible because they introduced it.
Yeah. You're saying Sword is heavenly
sword.
Heavenly made. Heavily involved in what's going on in the storyline. So what I would like to know is, okay, if Sword's involved and this isn't S.H.I.E.L.D., this is clearly a galactic matter in accordance to what you guys are telling me about Sword. So what would their role be?
At the end of the latest Spider-Man movie, Nick Fury was in space with the Skrull in a orbiting satellite somewhere. So maybe that's leading into this.
Oh, so you're saying
so you think it's tied?
You're saying that Captain Marvel's an awesome movie now because it all ties together.
Good for you.
You know what? I did not say that. But if you're gonna defer that, I'm not gonna argue with you.
Can I tell you something? If you're gonna suck this series and say that they were so awesome with what they did with the 60s, what about what Captain Marvel did with the 90s, motherfucker?
That's
Captain
true.
Marvel still sucked. Okay?
Terrible.
I love Friends.
But I will say, in comparison to Wonder Woman 84, I still would rather Wonder Woman 84.
I haven't even seen that yet. But
Wonder Woman 84 is a good movie. What does that mean?
It means that.
It means that.
in your face. In the face.
Oh,
You brought it up. I didn't ask for this argument. You did.
You wanted it. I didn't. You brought it to the table. I served you.
So what you say? You didn't like Wonder Woman 84?
No, I liked it. It was a good movie.
Oh, then what are you trying to say? You made it
It was still better than Captain Marvel.
You're
in
saying
my
a good
opinion.
movie was
In
better than
my opinion.
Okay. Back to space.
Exactly.
Okay. Back to space. Now, what this could possibly mean is that this is, again...
I don't think in order to get things back to normal, we got to go, okay, back to space.
I was spacing out.
That's how I was putting it. You know, space, the final frontier. Maybe what she's doing is she's like altering everything, and maybe it's getting to a galactic proportion, because we don't know exactly what the span or range of this thing is. You know what I'm saying? Like, she might be being monitored by a sword or whatever, however that's working out, because we don't know, because there's only 2 episodes to tell. But maybe she's being viewed as a threat because she has done some hex altering thing and it's messing up something.
So because she's creating another dimension, per se, it's messing with the galactic powers that be, because you're not just messing with Earth, now you're creating a separate Earth.
Yeah, it's possible that she could be making a reality right now that's wiping out other realities.
I got you. No, that's a good point. It's a very good point. So, okay, so how much are y'all looking forward to the next episode?
So, all right, so we're going into episode 2. We begin this episode with strange noises being heard around the house, to which Wanda discovers is a tree branch wrapping on the window. The main plot of this episode is that Wanda and Vision are preparing for their magician act for a neighborhood talent show to raise money for the children. Everybody together.
For the children.
Vision swallows some big red gum, which he obtained at a neighborhood watch meeting with the guys, of course.
Yes.
Because of this gum swallowing, we've discovered that it really gunks up Vision's gears, making him appear to be quote-unquote drunk. Because of his drunkenness, quote-unquote, the magician show turns out to be the greatest comedy show in the history of the neighborhood talent show. And in this episode, we are introduced to Geraldine and Dottie and welcome the return of Agnes, the funny neighbor who feels the need to drink at these neighborhood wives committee meetings. Also, we are introduced to color for the first time in the series, which makes the intro of the show very significant because...
Very Pleasantville.
Yes, because it is reminiscent of the intro to the show Bewitched, which, as I may point out, the Bewitched series went from black and white to, at some point, color itself. The original series. So that's what episode 2 was all about. And throughout this, we get the first chance of hearing an outside voice saying, Wanda, who's doing this to you? Wanda, who is doing? We see outside influences coming into this world.
Somebody's trying to reach her.
Yes, somebody's trying to reach her into this episode, and this is the first time we see it.
It's very, the second episode is a lot more Truman Show-esque than what the other episodes were. With well, I shouldn't say other. There's only one.
The one other one.
One other one
that
was.
other sequel.
By the second one, you start to get the idea that the people who are in this universe are a little bit more controlled by Wanda and a lot more aware. Like I said before, that you saw that instance where Mrs. Hart was looking at Wanda and was like, stop it, as if she was talking to her and telling her to stop what was happening. I think you get to see a lot of instances like you talked about. What was the Geraldine woman where she's like, I don't even know why I'm here. You start to see a little bit more of an instance of characters like we're being controlled by what's going on around us, even though we realize what's going around us isn't quite natural. So that's what I'm saying. It feels a little Truman Show-esque.
Yeah, it's very crazy for sure.
I like
this
one.
Is the first chance where you have you realize there's something outside of what's happening in the current episodes you're watching. You have the helicopter. You have the beekeeper dude at the end.
Right.
Yeah.
Dottie was another one. Was like, I don't trust you. You're doing something.
Geraldine, if you remember from the trailers for this series, she's the one that get kicked out of whatever world they're in. That's very plain. You get to see that.
Yeah, and then things were like you said, the girl cut her hair. They had the helicopter. Things were red.
Yeah, the color,
black and white.
It's a Pleasantville,
yeah. Just like the Bewitched episode, everything turns into color.
It's trippy. That was a lot trippier than the first one, which I kind of dug.
So are we we understand, though, hopefully I'm not off on this, but this is progressing through different time periods, right?
Yes.
TV shows, yes.
You went from the 50s to the 60s?
Right. I didn't really catch that until like today. I had, I put on my Facebook that I'm watching WandaVision, blah, 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 blah. And if you look at the thumbnail that gets put on your page when you do that, they're in like an 80s sitcom, kind of maybe not 80s, but an 80s time period. She's got the big hair and he's got this kind of like, I don't know, but you can tell like it's further on in the future. So I didn't really catch that at first until I saw this picture of them on this television, and the television is like, it's a more modern television.
You just made me think, like, what if we keep this gimmick going? Like, so we're going to the 50s, the 60s, we're going to go to the 70s, obviously, and that's all cool and everything. What if we go all the way up into, like, the 90s and beyond, and next thing you know, we're on the set of Full House, and there's Elizabeth Olsen, the Scarlet Witch, with the
that is like meta.
That'd be awesome.
Oh, dude, that would be awesome.
Playing the part of her sisters.
Yes.
Oh, man, that would be awesome.
How long do we keep this going for? Like, I mean, that would be kind of cool, wouldn't it?
Can I tell you? The last season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did exactly that.
Get the out of here.
They went through every different... They time traveled, kind of like what you saw in the MCU. They time traveled, and they went through different... Like, they went through the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. And the one guy that was an android survived through all those periods. And it's interesting that you brought that point up, because it's like, that's the exact thing that happened in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They went through time.
They met the Olsen twins?
No, they didn't meet the Olsen twins. But that would have been awesome if they did. But yeah, they went through time like that, just exactly like you said. So that'd be kind of funny if they did that.
But a lot of shows do that, where you go through time periods and you see this, that, and the other, but it happens over a short burn. It's like, a clip here, a clip there. We're staying in the world of Dick Van Dyke. We're staying in the world of Bewitched. We're staying in the world of, like, they don't want to leave those worlds. So it's like, it's almost like we have one idea, and it's a movie idea. And if we did this as a movie, this WandaVision show would be about 2 hours and you'd really enjoy it. But because we're trying to stretch it over 9 episodes, we're going to elongate this, and instead of extrapolating upon the idea, we're going to extrapolate upon the period. It would be like if you're watching back, like one of my I love Back to the Future, the series, I do, but my favorite Back to the Future movie is Back to the Future 2, because I remember seeing that in the theater, and
That's because you're a smart guy.
Well, my mind was blown when we went to the past. We went to the present, and then next thing you know, Marty sneaks into his house, and it's another person's house, and they chase him out, and he goes back in, and Biff has married his mom, and he's running Hill Valley, and it's like, what the hell is going on? And finally gets to Doc Brown, who Doc explains to him, Biff at some point in time stole the almanac, and that's how we're going to bring this all thing back.
It's alternate timeline.
Awesome. WandaVision reminds me of if we did Back to the Future 2, but like we're going to do one whole episode about how Marty woke up in the wrong house. We're going to do another whole episode about how Marty woke up at the tower and he found out that, his dad was dead and Biff married his mom and so forth and so on until we get to the 6th episode where we finally realize, and Doc explains to us, that Biff stole the time machine. And that's what happens. Is like, that's the series. That's, to me, in the nutshell, is they withhold plot to make you tune. It's the exact opposite of episodic television. Is exactly what The Mandalorian did. We're not going to withhold story. We're withholding plot.
I know. I'm not arguing with that. And you need to stream. You need to stream these shows.
In
you
a world
you
where
need to have all of these things.
In a world where everything is available right then and there, what else can they do besides make you have to tune in week after week? It's not like in the 80s when Who Shot JR? I had no idea.
But we have the technology. We can make it.
I object, sir. They could show you Wanda lying on the bed, and you don't know who's got her there.
Ooh.
But you know she's on a bed, and she's being held beyond her will.
Me.
And then...
Hey, look, bro, you had me going. But look, your argument, you had no argument anymore. I'm with you.
I almost blew this proper 12 on my nose. You was like, me.
Thank you, Night Stalker.
Vision.
You're right there.
Vision kept it up on the bed like, what's happening?
Look, you're selling a product that has already been sold.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
No, I'm just saying, like, you could absolutely, okay, now you've hinted, Wanda's someplace, another reality, being held, and what's going on is happening in her mind, and you're satisfied to watch what you're watching because you understand what's going on. You're not even getting that. You're getting none of that. You pretty much have an idea that that's what's going on. That somewhere, somehow, Wanda has entered into an alternate dimension or an ultimate reality or whatever that's going on. But that's what I'm saying. It's like they don't give you plot first and then let's see how this whole thing unfolds. If you watch Breaking Bad, at the end of Breaking Bad, you need to watch only the first episode. Walter White is cooking meth and he's going to try and become a drug dealer. And the whole thing is about that
dealing
journey.
with that.
Right. And there's character building episodes, and there's world building episodes, and there's all these episodes that help build up the story. Things move the plot along, things happen. You don't get none of that. This whole series, just like The Mandalorian, their objective is obscure the plot at all costs. Have you at all times at odds to where this is going. Have the internet nerds marking out and saying, this could be this, and this could be this, and this could be that, and whatever. It seems like that is the general overall objective to me.
Well, let me throw this at you. So, like, I was watching the second episode, and now I do like this. They got the little funky commercials that come in between.
Oh yeah, we have to mention that. Yeah,
my turn. No, my
I
turn.
gotta put on that one.
Very nicely
Thank
done.
you. That's right. You're missing out. You're missing out. So, like, the first one is like about the Stark toaster, right? Yeah. And I'm like, all right, cool. But then there's the second commercial. Remember what the second commercial deals with?
The watch?
Yeah,
Strucker. So, like, I was watching it with my daughter.
Strucker, I barely knew her.
And so I'm watching with my daughter and the
Old
boyfriend.
jokes, but still is telling.
That's how you do it. Good dad joke, Lee. He goes ahead, and the boyfriend is like, well, what's Strucker? Because my daughter's boyfriend likes to be he's a know-it-all. Finally, he didn't know something.
He's a good dude.
He's a good dude. Bam! Yeah, I was like, nah, this is why I'm your daddy. So I said, this is Baron von Strucker. He's a bad guy. He works with Hydra. And then there's like a Hydra symbol in there.
In the watch, yeah.
Did you really say da-da-da-da-da?
No, it was longer than that, but for the sake of time, it's da-da-da-da-da.
But
Baron
you need that watch and your woman. Those are the two accessories you need when you go out.
Sometimes you need to just watch a woman. That,
Well, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yes, sir.
It's a little disappointing.
Well, I was just kind of hitting it quick.
Okay, go ahead.
But wait, as far as what?
Well, there was another thing that was happening in those commercials. Did you catch it?
The first one, he goes and he hits the toast, and the lady's like, "That's taking too long." And it's like beeping.
Yes.
Beeping.
What was weird about the beeping?
I don't know. It was just I thought it was a bomb.
It was the only thing in color. In that first episode,
It was the red button.
there was a red
light.
light that was blinking over and over again.
And it kept going faster and faster as it kept going.
And they paused on that. And what was the tagline? Forget the past. This is your future. And it was very overtly hypnotic. Like as if they were kind of like...
It took a while.
Trying. So then all of a sudden you're like, well, are these commercials controlling Wanda? Is Wanda watching these commercials and see she's associating her childhood mind?
Oh, basically like, why is the commercial here? Yeah.
Right. You see the same thing with the Strucker commercial. Yes, there's the Hydra.
Another thing?
Go ahead.
Now, I will not take credit for this. This is my little brother that pointed this out to me. The first one was a toaster. It was a Stark Industries toaster. The second one was a Strucker watch.
Hydra.
Those are Hydra. Those were the first two things that we know of that were traumatic events in her lifetime. Stark waiting for the bomb to kill her when they were lying on the thing, and then Strucker with the brainwashing.
Yes.
With the Mind Stone.
Right.
Well, and again, you go with the tagline of the first one, which was, what did we say before?
Forget the past.
Forget the past. Yeah, this is your future. The second one was Strucker, he'll make time for you.
He'll make time for you. Yeah.
Again, vaguely hypnotic.
But now in that instance, this is where Lee has the point. Because if you just like, oh, well, it's a commercial, whatever, you could go past that. It doesn't affect your viewing of the plot of the show. But yes, in that sense, Lee is correct. You would have to be a comic dude or see the movies or whatever to get that deep into it. You know what I mean? But now we're just like
but it's not
pulling
even
the dots.
deep,
You know what I'm saying?
But I don't think it's being deep.
That's
it's
a little deep. That a little deep.
A little bit, but I mean, I think you can assume from that somebody is being hypnotized.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying you're wrong, but what I'm saying is that if I sat with two people who had watched they were aware of the Marvel movies, but right there when they put on the watch, like they knew Stark, but they didn't know Strucker. You know what I'm saying? And so they're like, what's that about? I was like, well, that's a bad guy. So you would have to kind of have some sort of knowledge there to kind of say, well, maybe there is something sinister going on here based upon the watch. At least that's what I explained to them.
We see the next commercial, the next episode, we'll have more better thing for what that goes.
It's MOW. MODOK's running the whole show.
Yeah, I was gonna say, no, you lie. I'm not lying. No, because that makes sense. Because then I was gonna bring up one last point. That makes sense,
really? I was just joking.
No, because I was gonna bring up one other point.
I was gonna suggest AIM and all that crap.
No, that's what I was gonna say.
Really?
Yeah, because the guy. All right, the guy comes out like. They looking out in the street and like, I heard something. Let's go outside. WandaVision. Let's go outside. And what do they see? They see dude in the beekeeper outfit. Right. AIM characters in the books basically wear a beekeeper suit.
Oh, really? See, I didn't know that.
Well, not a beekeeper suit, but that style.
I've seen this, but there are actual bees around this guy.
All right, well, yeah, but you would agree that the color and the uniform for the sake of...
Sure, yeah. If you're gonna split hairs,
that theory, yeah.
Yes. But I would say
I will split hairs. I ain't got much left.
Mephisto would have been the more natural one because there's a point there where they're at the meeting with Dottie, and Dottie goes, "Bev, the devil's in the details," and she leans in. Agnes goes, "That's not the only place he is."
Damn.
That's
Danny,
good.
I like the way you think.
Oh,
I like that.
Hey, what's Twin Towers?
Look at this. Look at this. Bonded.
You know what? You just excommunicated. I'm a Marvel expert.
That was two. That was
Rob Liefeld to do your edge.
Oh wait, that was two episodes. That was two references to the devil. What's the second one? There's two references. Devil in the details. What was the second one?
In the first two episodes?
In the first two episodes?
Another reference to the devil.
Well, there was Emma Caulfield in there. She played a demon in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I didn't get that far into it.
All right. Just saying, she was...
The rabbit's name was Mr. Scratch.
Was it?
Oh, it was. Old Scratch name. Scratch is the name for the devil.
You're right.
Oh, yeah.
That's
really
Mephisto.
Good point.
Mephisto is running this whole show.
Now, that would explain in the cosmic...
I'm saying the devil in the detail line was one of those lines where it didn't resonate as funny. It was one of those things where you're like,
And hold on. First off, two things. Agnes. Agatha Harkness. Agatha Harkness was a witch.
Yes.
Who was a advisor to the Scarlet Witch.
From the trailers, that's what we're thinking.
From the Marvel Universe.
Yes,
wait.
That's what we're thinking. Yes.
So I don't know what y'all talking about. Who?
Agatha Harkness.
Agatha Harkness.
She was a witch who was actually alive during the Salem witch trials.
Okay.
Back in...
Like he's going comic on you now.
Well, comic. This is comic. Agatha Harkness.
It's in line with the trailers that they released for
was
this
a
episode.
witch in the Salem witch trial, and she survived all to these days. And she was an advisor to Wanda when she had her twins and had the whole storyline.
And Peter at one point.
And Peter, and that's what Agnes, though the neighbor that accompanies her. That's who.
Agatha Harkness.
Put those two names together. Agatha Harkness. Agnes.
He's doing
whoa. Then she's the one who keeps making the remarks towards the devil, though.
Exactly.
So was she in line with Mephisto?
No, she's kind of like
in the comics. She was.
She's kind of in the middle. I thought in the comics she was kind of like a medium.
No, I think.
Medium is still good enough to be in line where she's not Mephisto, but she is in league.
Well, she's enough to tie whatever together.
Another one. Who is Mephisto in the comics?
Yes, that's a good point.
Mephisto is Marvel Comics version of the devil.
Yes. Yeah, but it depends on his motive as to if he's like evil or if he, you know what I'm saying, like he's good.
But I want to put in this point, since y'all bringing this up. In the trailers for this whole series, we have Agnes asking Vision if we're dead, and he's like, no, and he asks why to Agnes, and she says, because you are.
I don't even remember that.
No, I remember this vividly.
Sitting in the car,
what does this mean? Yeah, she's sitting in the car when Vision is asking her this.
Okay.
So to say that she's a witch, is totally consistent with what we've seen in the trailers.
Well, she's dead. Is Agatha Harkness a dead person?
But according to Kirk, she's been living through all this. Is
She's
that right?
like
That is true.
she's like a
sense. But he's saying living.
She's like a blind psychic though, from what I remember in the comics. I don't
She
know.
either have to be a very old lady or
In the comics, she's old as dirt.
A Madam Web.
I thought it was the same lady.
No, I don't think the same lady. Madam Web was Spider-Man.
Our comic book experts are failing us, right?
We're not failing you. We're contradicting each other.
We're literally, we're cutting hairs, but they both are mystics, put
Right.
it like that.
Okay.
So the power is
Agatha
generally
Harkness is alive or dead?
well,
She's alive.
she's alive.
Okay, but she's very old as dirt.
She's old as dirt.
But in the trailer, Vision says you're dead.
Well, and what he
No, in
said,
the trailer, Agnes tells Vision he's dead.
Agnes tells Vision he's dead.
Agnes tells Vision he's dead.
Oh,
because the way the trailer goes is Agnes asks Vision's like, "Are we dead?" And he's like, "No, why?" It's like, "Because you are."
well, now we're putting,
okay.
But see, this is what we talked about earlier. Because we are who we are, we're not taking the show directly as it is. We're like just delving into it and then taking all these enigmatic pieces and then putting them together with knowledge we have from movies, comics, whatever.
Can I tell you something? That's what you have to do when a show does not want to give you its plot.
That's exactly.
And
I
that's
agree.
where we are, and that's what sucks about the show.
That's what I was saying earlier. That's what I was saying earlier, where it was like, the parts where it's Dick Van Dyke-ish and, bewitchish and stuff, like that's cute. Now maybe they get to the 70s and they put on a rerun outfit, start doing
Chico
the
and the
rerun
Man?
dance, and Sanford and Son. Okay, I'm on that. I'm on Good Times. Like somebody come out and Stelma or something like that.
No, somebody comes out as Bookman.
Yeah, can we do like
Yes.
a Wanda episode where we're doing Good Times?
Yo, I would see that. I would totally watch that. I would totally watch that.
Anytime you need to pay off Vision.
How we gonna pay these bills? How we gonna pay these bills?
Oh, the
Vision?
Jeffersons.
Oh my god. Wanda! Oh, see, like the 70s was my jam. See, like if they started this show in the 70s, I would defend
I'm with you.
Well,
Like,
wait till next week.
I don't know Dick Van Dyke. I don't know Lila Lucy as much as I know the more of the 70s
Right?
shows.
I'm with you, And it's not to say that they were bad shows. I mean, actually, you know what's funny? I think that's the first time I ever saw like a black and white show that actually had some brothers and sisters in the black and white show.
I know that was very unique.
Right? Yeah, it was extremely, because that never happened on those shows.
Because in my description, I wanted to say this is the first time we saw color, but in actuality, in episode 1, we said that that there was some color in the office of where Vision worked.
Yeah, he had that other cat with him.
Yeah, the little Indian dude that walked next to that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: when he goes, Norm's a communist. What the was that about?
I'm more worried. Which one of them were brothers?
The dude that had the fro.
I didn't see nobody to say they were. He's my brother.
No, he said like you wanted some good gossip, and this is before he was drunk with the gum. He said Norm's a communist.
Yeah.
And he's referring to his boy.
That was out the blue. I didn't know what that was.
It was out the blue. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe there's something to that. I think this is going to be one of those shows where at the end you're going to look back and you're going to know all these little mysteries, how they tie together. So maybe that's a little foreshadowing. Who knows? It could just be like that whole time area with the whole Red Scare and all that was going on.
It was strange over here. Just out of the blue, it just came out with communists. Like,
everybody laughed.
And then nothing came out of it.
Especially right now. To say communists like that.
Oh, yeah, back then that was radical.
Like, I'm waiting for Norm to look at him uncomfortably like, dude, you just outed me. Like, you read my mind, and how did you know?
Since Norm was a man of color.
Yes, he was.
He wasn't a white guy.
And he just laughed along like it was all a big joke. And I got the impression that the reason Vision knew that was because he read Norm's mind and he knew he was a communist. But Norm just laughed it off like it was anything.
And everybody laughed with him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That, like, I'm like, wait, I'm missing something here. And I thought maybe there was something y'all could explain to me. But y'all had the same reaction.
I don't know. Yeah, no, I don't know.
Was total mystery.
I was like, well, that was quirky. And then the magic show was cool, but quirky as well.
It was, yeah.
Did anybody catch that his name was Illusion and her name was Glamour? And then back in the first episode, that I think Agnes was looking at a magazine named Glamorous.
Yeah, I saw Glamorous.
I just found that was kind of coincidental.
I didn't catch that. No, I did not catch that.
I did
But,
not.
can I tell you the Raz?
magazine, yeah.
The Raz pointed out like at some point in time, Jennifer Lawrence's face is on one of the magazines.
Oh, really?
And can I say something else about
Interesting.
but the magazines and newspapers? The magazines and newspapers in this show, they mention children a lot. Children are mentioned a lot.
For the
during this
children.
Well,
thing.
okay, so that brings me to Vision's tie. Did y'all notice that where you have this little box with
the
this
box with two things in it?
two dots in the box and 2 dots outside, and we know again from the comics, again this is spoiler edition, is that Wanda has twins.
Yes.
Which is Magneto, who had Wanda had twins. He had Wanda and Quicksilver, right?
Right.
And so then Wanda has twins, which are called
Wicked and Speed.
Look at them two fighting over one
You like
another.
it?
Look at that.
I like that.
Now
Young
they're
Avengers, Dad.
now they're
Now
Wonder
they're
Twins.
friends.
That's
Yeah,
one of those
it's
Young
beautiful.
Avenger things I tried to pitch a long time ago, but that's a story for another
So
day.
I
of
was
trauma.
watching it. I'm like, is that box and his tie significant of the 2 children within the womb, and Wanda and him being outside the womb? Is it him and Wanda being in the box while their bodies are out, their minds being in the box, while their bodies are outside the box?
That's deep.
It was like that tie was so obvious. It just stuck out as being a
I didn't
symbol.
pick up
At
on
the
that.
magic show is what? For the children.
For the children.
Over and over and
For
over
the
again.
children.
For
yeah.
the children.
For the children.
Children.
Everybody repeats that for the children. It was pretty.
It
out
was
there.
intriguing.
That should be our tagline when we sign up from now on, for the children.
For the children.
Yes, the magic our way for the children.
For the
But even the
children.
newspaper that Vision was reading in the first episode when he comes into the kitchen, it has something about some baby's smile was tickled the mama's fancy or something. It was something about a kid, about a baby. It was there's so many references to children throughout the whole first 2 episodes, and then all of a sudden at the end of the second episode she comes up pregnant.
See,
This
now,
is all building
But
to that.
she willed herself into being pregnant because obviously children were on her mind.
But
Right,
then
she was.
Agnes kept telling her, "How about you make whoopee to you with your husband?"
Well, no, it wasn't
in the
just
4th episode.
It wasn't just Agnes though. Like the neighbors were not neighbors. The boss and
boss
his wife
wife,
was asking about children and how long you have lived here. I get the impression that Wanda is populating this world with what she thinks. I get the impression that Wanda's being held against her will. But I do get the impression that she is very much in charge of what's going on in the world, and because she's in charge of it, she's kind of indulging in it.
Yeah, especially at the end when the beaker comes up, she's like, no, and
No,
rewinds
that ain't
things.
happening and rewinds.
Yeah,
it.
I'm like,
That's a
what
good
the heck?
point.
yeah,
Okay.
that was a little
So-
funky, but
So way out there, theory.
MODOK.
way MODOK. Way out there theory. Back to Age of Ultron. One says her and Petro were trapped for 2 days, I think.
Yes.
Something like that.
Something like
waiting for Stark to kill them.
I
when
know
they're
what
waiting for
you're
the
talking
bomb to
about.
blow up.
He's watching the bomb.
Let's just say that during those 2 days, Sokovia, European country, maybe not a whole lot of advanced culture and everything. They're watching American reruns. They're watching I Love Lucy, Bewitched, Dick Van Dyke Show.
Can I go one step beyond? What if they're watching a bomb that's beeping red?
Could be just like in the
Just
commercials.
like that
Just like in the
Toastmaster,
commercials.
yes.
They're watching all this. That's her only thing about American culture. She's thinking those 2 things I saw during those 2 days. I was waiting for Stark to kill us, and that's what her subconscious is projecting and making this series that we're watching right now. Like Danny said in the commercial, watching the bomb tick 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 tick, and she's watching these videos of all these idealized American culture. I Love Lucy, Bewitched. Stuff like that. That's what they have now. And that's where the voice comes over on the radio saying, Wanda, who's doing this to you? Wanda, who's doing this to you? Nobody's doing this to her. She's doing it to herself.
That's a very real possibility.
it's possible. Now, now, Winter Soldier, that's when like everybody starts to infiltrate, right? Hydra and all that other stuff, they start to infiltrate. Now we got Hydra already in here, so let's say if you go with that, I want to just go ahead and just say, I like the Mephisto thing. I'm kind of with like a Hydra being captured, like because kind of like Hydra and AIM kind of work together, at least to where I remember it. I kind of like that they have her kind of captured and doing the thing. Sword is watching her project whatever is going on in her head, and they're kind of like, okay, we got to figure out a way to intercept the transmission. That's kind of like where I'm going with it, and try to figure out a way to break it out. Because like she had the helicopter. Helicopter's red, it's got Sword on it. Right? Sword's
right.
Sword's a good guy. So like maybe they try to like figure out.
Whoa, is Sword a good guy?
Well, okay, you know what? Fair, because I've only seen 2 episodes.
No. I've only seen 2 episodes as well. I don't know about no. I'm saying, is Sword in the comics a good guy?
Yes, they're okay. They kind of, but they
similar to
police.
Shield.
Yeah, they're Cosmic Shield. Like even Beast is on it.
I don't even remember Sword in the comics.
Well,
I've read comics,
but this was like again, this was like the Josh Whedon one. So this is like we're talking like. Early 2000s.
Okay.
And that was back when Marvel took X-Men, Avengers, and they did this weird thing that they just split them up. They had like, what was it? Wasn't it something like New Avengers or like something where they mixed X-Men? They had half X-Men, half Avengers. Because there was like, I want to say it was after the Civil War fallout. And nobody liked superheroes at that point. So they had to figure out a storyline to kind of make all the superheroes deal with each other and then come together and all this weirdness. That's where that storyline came from. Yeah, so it's a weird point, but it's cool to know that in those storylines that have happened, like we're in 2021, here are storylines that they're pulling like from like 15 to 20 years back to make for media now.
To kind of wrap this all up, man, let me ask this last question. I'll start off with Lee. Are these first 2 episodes enough for you to continue watching the rest of the MCU? Specifically next Friday when we have the next 2 episodes of WandaVision. Lee, what do you think?
Well, I guess if I want to be on the show, I have to watch it.
Damn right. Damn right. We listen to all your travel stuff. We support you.
No, that bullshit. I'm with Lee on this one. It's
Don't do me like that.
No, I'm with. If y'all like, guys, next week you got to talk about WandaVision. I'm like, all right, I'll watch it. I'm with Lee. I could let a couple weeks go and then catch up to it when I know I'll get more of a satisfactory sense of what's going on. I hate the fact that they're withholding plot. I hate the fact that they're withholding meaning towards.
They're not putting you right in the middle of it.
Right. They're not investing me in it. They're making me tune in just to find out what the is going on. It feels like Lost all over. Okay, wait.
Yeah,
it really does.
But yeah, I liked Lost too. So
Nice.
But the only thing I'll say is that I will say this: like after this recording right now, I am kind of interested to go back and see some of these details that I didn't miss. I mean, that I missed and I didn't know about, and I didn't understand the reference. So that was kind of cool being on, us talking about it and me having a point of reference now to some of those things. So, but yeah, I mean, ultimately, if we weren't doing a podcast and I had just watched it because it was a Disney show, I probably wouldn't tune back in, maybe not ever. But again, who knows how it's going to progress? Hopefully it'll get to the point where it's a little more engaging and I can enjoy it more. And I think that sometimes you just have to go along for the ride. So to answer your question, short answer, I probably would not watch this if I wasn't on the show, but I got a little more enjoyment and a little more comprehension level after doing the show today.
All right, so based on the first 2 episodes, Lee, no. Okay.
Well, see, that's a good answer because I mean,
what do you think?
That's an honest answer Dave gave. But he wouldn't be on the show. He wouldn't be tuning in.
But he already gave the answer.
He already said that at the very beginning.
Yeah.
I'm just going what he said now.
He's like, good point, but I would not.
All right, so
being an MCU fan, yes,
you would watch this. Okay.
Being an MCU fan, not knowing anything about the comics, yes, I am tuning into this because I'm intrigued now. I don't know what the hell is going on with this. Being a comic fan, I'm even more intrigued because, like, how are they going to work everything that I already know into the story?
Let me ask you this, then. Would you rather be looking for the next episode of this or the first episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier?
I think this.
Yeah,
I think this is going to carry the MCU forward more than the Falcon and Winter Soldier. For my personal opinion, I think Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be more of a filler.
Okay.
I think it's going to be carrying the story of the MCU forward more than this one.
I think you're going to have, like, it'll be easier to talk and digest that one than this one.
I like this one. Plus, I'm going to say the caveat that these first 2 episodes are built on 50s and 60s nostalgia with the black and white TV sitcoms. And that's kind of an era that I'm very familiar with because that's the way I grew up in.
All right, so Kirk says yes. And so, Eli, what do you say?
I'd easily say this. I would watch it because it's like in the MCU universe. But if I didn't have anybody to discuss it with, it would be tougher.
I can see that.
Yeah, because there's
absolutely.
like there's stuff I know, and like I said, it was good to kind of have this kind of exchange. But like, yeah, the people I watched it with were like, I don't know anything about that. But it would benefit the show more if they just threw out like all episodes and just were like, hey, look, you waited a long time for this to show up. Here's everything, and you could just binge it in one shot
sense.
and be good.
Yeah, in my opinion, it's like I'm only watching it because I'm curious with hope that they give me more of a sense of what the heck's going on. You know, because the first 2 episodes are pretty out there. I don't know what's going on, so it's like I'm hoping next week I get a little bit more clarity with the next 2 episodes after that. I'm kind of excited they're releasing 2 episodes each week, so I'm
too.
curious.
Yeah, I like the fact that we were able to just kind of collectively have all of this weird knowledge, because like when we did The Mandalorian, you were like the source of knowledge at that point because you had seen all this other Star Wars stuff, and then even to say on this one, and it just goes to everybody's point, it's just the show's so out there, and it's not enough for you to just kind of say, all right, yeah, I like this part or that part. It's so enigmatic that you have to pull upon stuff that you know and what you can pull, and that's fun for a discussion. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a lot more invigorated, now than ever, because I can have that to see all the different plot points that can be pulled and who saw what. So it's like just conspiracy talk. But yeah, as a show, it is. It's a little rough.
So you'd
that's
say
a great
yes,
connection. Right? That seriously, that's a great connection you just made there, E. In the sense of that, Kevin really kind of brought us into the Star Wars expanded universe. You and Kirk are bringing us into the Marvel expanded universe. That's my one problem with this series is that again, it follows that Mandalorian type of viewing, which is that in order to really appreciate it, you have to be tapped into an expanded universe that if you're the casual viewer, you might be, as Lee was, more prone to say, you know what, I'll wait. And I feel the exact same way Lee feels. I was like, I'll wait. I've got too much going on in a given week to where I'm going to make this, mandatory viewing.
And the one biggest thing I've seen, the critique I've seen about this show since Friday morning when it premiered, when I got up, is it's weird. It's we used to, when you say MCU product, we're looking for a certain, we got a certain model in mind. And this is weird. Why is this coming with a black and white? I don't know anything about black and white. What the hell? And but it has a story. It's just you got to wait for the last 5 minutes, not even to see somebody watching on a TV screen to know, okay, hold on, there's something else behind this.
But it better pay itself off really well.
It has to.
Well, you know what? I've seen it. Yeah. I've seen an interview with Paul Bettany, who plays Vision, who said that this basically 3 arcs. The third arc, which is the first one, which is the first 3 episodes. Second 3 episodes, and third one is going to be where it's going to be a really payoff to the bigger reveal. But again, to have to wait for. To ask somebody who has no idea about what the comic book or anything else to come in and wait 6 episodes to find out what's going on. It's a little
bit, yeah. It's like saying F the casual fans. We're just appealing to our base, and in our base, by the time they spread the word, the whole thing will be out.
And I can see where this ends. It leads into the Doctor Strange movie, which is supposed to be Doctor Strange and Wanda. In Doctor Strange in the Multiverse, I think. Well, yeah. Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
Which that goes into that, but still, you're asking your audience to know all the history that's come before this.
But that's what I was saying earlier to you. Like, look, when Falcon the Winter Soldier comes out, I don't think you're going to have this level of confusion.
That seems to be more of a grounded movie, a grounded TV, a grounded show.
A grounded series.
Exactly.
Yes.
Appreciate that.
To what Eli just said, that would be a welcome change. To have a series that I know what it is as soon as I tune in, and I can be like, oh, dude, that's awesome, because they're trying to figure out this, that, and the other. To have a series that I can watch after 2 to 3 episodes and be like, dude, this is what the series is about, and dude, I don't know where it's going, but it's got me. That's awesome. To have a series where it's always like, especially on Disney Plus these days, to have a series where it's always like, I don't know where it's going, but I'm tuning in because I'm invested in the property, is a little bit different.
It'd be a good balance for sure.
It would be a definite.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you, Kev.
So, guys, look, we're curious to know what you think about the first 2 episodes, or the opening 2 episodes of the Marvel Cinematic Universe Phase 4. Let us know, and we're about to tell you how to get in touch with us in just a little bit. Well, guys, guys. We hope you enjoyed that discussion. And if you want to learn more about us, magicourway.com is the way to go. There you'll find our social media links, past episodes, and more. Also, you can get in touch with us to share your opinions about WandaVision through the following ways. You can shoot us an email at show@magicourway.com, leave us a voicemail via our SpeakPipe widget, or you can call or send us a text message. Yes, I did say text at 1-815-MOWEEKEND. That is 1-815-MOWEEKEND 669-4226. And of course, we have a couple of guys that do things outside of the podcast. First of all, we got Eli.
Hey, Rob Liefeld here. Deadpool, Cable, X-Force, Domino, Marvel Comics, Image Comics, all of it. You guys, what is up? Eli Ivory. What a great name. Eli Ivory, comic guru. I'm here to talk about you. I am here to say, check out ivorycomics.com. That's right, you. Check out ivorycomics.com. ivorycomics.com. If you're not doing that, you're missing out. You're missing out. The Savages comic cannot be beat, cannot be surpassed. You need to check it out, experience it for yourself, and you know the story. It's all about the glory. Congrats to you and all the magic that you're making with your Ivory Comics. Eli Ivory, comic book guru. Check out ivorycomics.com, comic book guru, Eli Ivory, the whole package. Deadpool said to. Do it. ivorycomics.com right now. Liefeld out.
The whole package. I never get tired of hearing that. Totally not. You heard what Mr. Liefeld said, and what he forgot to mention, which I will help to mention, is when you go to the Ivory Comics website, not only will you see all those great features that Rob mentioned, but you will also get a link to this awesome podcast, so you never miss an episode. You get the history of things. You get the critiques of things. You never miss out. You can also find me out there on Facebook, Eli H. Iris, where you can find me there. As long as you're a real person, you're welcome. As long as you're a bot, please don't do it. You can also find Project Geisha on Facebook, so you know Facebook.com/Project Geisha. Find some cool artwork there. Instagram, right out there, posting up some posts and the hearts and the likes and liking what you're doing if you're doing what I like. EIV504 is where you can find me there. And of course, on Twitter, you can find me at Hancock10166. So if you appreciate the madness, you just bring me the gladness. Although I'm not sure about smiling sideways, Kevin.
Oh, that's okay, man. And look, if you want to book a vacation, so maybe you can go visit Disneyland. Who knows? Without an annual pass. You can do so through Lee. Lee, tell them how to do this.
Just give me a call at 832-431-1621. That's 832. Wax them off with Mephisto.
Okay, where the hell did that come from?
Wow. And this guy says he doesn't listen.
Wax him off with Mephisto. Lee has been listening.
Wax him off with Mephisto.
That's what he said.
You say wax him off or max him off?
Wax him off.
Oh, damn, you said max him off.
But that's what he did.
That would have worked well.
Lee combining together. He's Lee.
He take you there. That's what he's a travel agent
He
for.
whacks him off, he whacks him on.
Oh, man. You can email me at lee@magicourway.com. Facebook, you can find me at facebook.com/Lastovica Travel. That's LASTOVICA Travel. Instagram, you can find me at You Got a Friend in Lee Travel. And if you do any of that, we'll get you hooked up and booked up with no
Hasselvika.
And of course, Kirk, thanks for coming on our show once again, man.
Kirk!
Is there any way the listeners can follow you? Or what?
I'm just glad I caught Kirk's sympathetic vibes.
Sympathetical, me and you, that, right here.
Exactly.
Well, hopefully you can find me on the Pirates of the Magic Kingdom podcast whenever COVID is finished and we come back.
Wait, y'all having hiatus?
Y'all on hiatus?
It's been a hiatus for a while.
Oh, no.
Can't have that. You can't. Look, we have figured out a way to keep talking.
Y'all on shore leave.
Despite this, come on. Get the Navy out there.
We're here.
We just had a talk with Lee about Captain Stan and all that.
Maybe y'all got scurvy.
Captain Stan is the but Magic Our Way is the home port.
But I'm just saying, like, you guys still have our support, and you can make your own stuff.
Sure,
don't quit now.
Appreciate that.
Right? Come on, move forward.
You let us know when y'all start broadcasting again. We will go ahead and be sure to promote that.
All right, guys. In addition, there's so many ways to support the show as a whole, and you can find them all on our website, magicourway.com. Any way in which you can support the show is deeply appreciated. We also want to take a second and thank you for being a loyal listener, and we love hearing from our listeners. All opinions are always welcome on the Magic Our Way podcast, so make sure you get in touch with us today. Some weekends, ladies and gentlemen, we say Kwaherini. My name is Kevin.
And I'm Danny.
Magic out.
I have every intention of eating those bananas for breakfast, but I still somehow end up with tacos.
House of M&M.